Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, canvas open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lies and sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose, move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning is crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, opportunity.
It is time for the Villain Report, and also it is game day right here. Second preseason game for the Detroit Lions. Welcome to the program. This is the Villain Report. I am your host, Russell Wayne, and we are broadcasting live right now into the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page. 52,000 strong, 52,000 villains. Thank you for following, sharing, and liking this content. We're also broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions News podcast with 75,000 strong, and plus, I think there are more around 77,000 right now. Make sure you go follow and like and subscribe to that page. Our brand new YouTube pages that we go to JC Sports right there. Subscribe to that YouTube page as well as the Villain Squad YouTube page. And we're on Roku. NFL on Huddle Sports Network. We're on Roku right now. Join the conversation. Leave your questions, your thoughts, your concerns in the comments right there as we get this party started right here. I mean, there's nothing that is more exciting than game day, and that other than like real game day. But we are in the preseason today. The Detroit Lions are going to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Bobby Boucher is going to be in attendance. He might be trying out for one of them linebacker spots right there. And what do you think about the preseason game? I want to say hello to my compadres in here. Brent, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? He said the morning is good. Good morning, Brent. Jeffrey Addison is present and accounted for. Davey says one pride. Scott Harrison in the house right there. Elise Memes, the queen of memes, is in the house. Happy game day to the villains right here. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. We got to talk about some of these contrasting personalities between one Dan Campbell, the man says on the way up we're going to bite a kneecap off, and Andy Reid, a Super Bowl winning coach. So the contrasting style is that Andy Reid plans on playing the starters all the way through the first half of the game. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, the starters being played for the entire first half of the game, and Dan Campbell doesn't really believe in that philosophy. Dan Campbell believes in, if you've got that starting job already, that we should probably be looking at the guys that don't have the job. So we're looking for our depth piece. We're going to talk about a little bit today about what we want to look at. What do we want to see as Lions fans? You know, they're going to be playing their starters. There's a good opportunity right there when you really look at it. Of course, we want to see our starters. I want to see Sam Laporta. I want to see Jahmyr Gibbs and Jared Goff. I can't wait to see them. I don't want to see them today. And I'm glad that the coach is not going to do that. We're going to be out there. We got these coordinators. They're looking for their pieces, the final pieces to the puzzle, to what we believe is a Super Bowl type of caliber team this year. And if you've been watching Mike and I for the last few years, it's like this isn't something that we just go out there and say all the time. We're not. We didn't tout Super Bowl last year. We were happy to get playoff wins. Before that, it was about being competitive. But this is really the first time that we could come out here and say that we really feel that we have a Super Bowl roster. And going into this preseason game right here, where the philosophies are so much different, right? The Kansas City Chiefs believe Patrick Mahomes is going to be out there slinging it with the first team offense during the entire first half. Dan Campbell doesn't really believe in that. There are going to be some starters that are going to be out there. I think it's going to be on the defensive side of the ball, but there's a lot of guys. I don't think that we're going to see any of the offensive linemen. I don't think that we're going to get to see Hendon Hooker. We're going to get to see Hendon Hooker go out there and play against a first-string defense. I mean, who isn't excited about that? Hendon Hooker out there, slinging it around. Let's see what we got right there. Out of 22 people that are sitting right there, why don't you just smash that like button right now because it's free. And if you like football content, then, you know, this is not bad. Right? We're talking about football, right? If you like talking about football, smash that like button, and we're moving forward. We're moving forward with this. Who do you want to see? Who's it going to be? Who do you want to see? If you just came in here, it's the Lions Villain Squad page. This is what it looks like right there. We got Manny the Main sitting right there wearing his Villain Squad necklace right there. And go over to the Facebook page. Give it a follow. Give it a follow. We got 52,000 villains. We're approaching 53,000. We're ramping up for this season. And I want to know, who do you want to see in this preseason game? Who do you want to see in the preseason game? Alita Smith says, go Lions, yay. It's good to see you in there. Thank you for joining the program. Jay-Z, definitely hoping to see some development from guys like Broderick, Kobe, Manu, and the guys fighting for wide receiver 4. I like that comment right there because that's the truth right there. I think that we're going to get a healthy dose of Broderick Martin tonight. And I think that Colby Sorsdahl is going to play probably all of the first team snaps in there, because I don't think that we're going to see very many of the starting offensive linemen for the Detroit Lions. Those guys don't have to. I mean, those are the bodies that get beat up, throughout the season, and they go out there and they take a beating, and they know what they're doing. This is the 4th year when you're talking about this offensive line, minus Kevin Zeitler, who is a Pro Bowl guard that is going to come in. He's experienced NFL, but the other 4 guys, they've been around for a couple years. They know what time it is. They've been at all of the training camps. Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell. You got to see those guys tonight. We know who they are, right? Manu, here's what I'll say about Manu. Manu is a developmental piece. You need to think of him like you did Broderick Martin last year. Like anybody that overreacted about Broderick Martin last year didn't get the memo from Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes didn't hide anything about Broderick Martin making an impact last year. It is what it is. But Manu is going to be the same way. You got to teach this kid. This kid came from a Canadian college. So this kid has got all of the physical gifts. He's 350 pounds, all solid muscle. I get it. That part of it is exciting, but you got to teach this kid how to play football. And I think that they will. He's got the right attitude for it. But I don't think that we're going to – I mean, Manu's been looking lost. We'll see how quickly he can pick that stuff up, but we're not expecting him in year 1 to do those types of things. But Colby Sorsdahl, we got to get you in there, buddy. We need to know that 5th round draft pick coming out of William and Mary, all that rush should be off. So I love that. Great comment there, Jay-Z. Brent in here says, I'm good with it, Russ, as long as we do a great job during the regular season. Jeffrey Addison says, I'm very curious about who will be playing cornerback against Mahomes today. Do we have anyone available? Well, we have a lot of players available, and that's going to be a very cool opportunity for Aaron Glenn in this defense, Jeffrey. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to Jeffrey, because Jeffrey is one of the admins to our Facebook group, Detroit Lions Main Event. And that is the way that you can post your opinions out there. You can go to our group and put your opinions that are out there. And we've been sharing some of those onto our page. But Jeffrey does a great job at keeping out the spammers, anybody that's trying to sell the tickets and, putting up those BS articles about players dying in plane crashes and stuff like that. I appreciate you, Jeffrey, for managing that and doing that. And now, as far as the cornerbacks are concerned, I mean, we need to see Rakestraw. I think Rakestraw is going to get a nice, healthy dose. Unless I'm not hearing about an injury. I've been looking through here. I don't think that all of those guys were supposed to come back. I don't think that we're going to see much of Terrion Arnold. I think that they know what he is, and his injury is going to keep him out. More of a better safe than sorry type of thing. That's what I heard about that deal. But you got Dorsey, you got these other cornerbacks like Ifeatu Melifonwu, the slot corner. Now that Brian Branch is moving back to the safety spot and he's going to be roaming around like a predator. Now that slot corner spot is up between Amik Robertson, Rakestraw's been repping there, and Ifeatu Melifonwu's been repping there. So there's a big competition for that slot corner spot. So I am interested in that. And the cool opportunity is that it's Patrick Mahomes in the number 1 offense, is going to be out there. So you want to talk about a good test. You want to get it out there. And even if they get beat up on, I mean, there's a chance with them playing all their starters and we're playing all of our second teamers, they might carve us up. It might not look good tonight, guys. But there's just a difference in philosophy. Dan Campbell does not believe in playing the starters, and Andy Reid believes in this dress rehearsal type of thing. So it's interesting to see what's going to be out there for tonight. And that Jay-Z says, I want to see Hooker play and not put himself in harm's way. Now, that's a really funny thing, because he did get the concussion, went into concussion protocol. And the general thing that when I put that post out about what he had said about destroying that safety when he ran the ball, is a lot of people just assume that the concussion came on that play, and it didn't. The concussion didn't come on that play. It was a few plays later that when the pocket collapsed on him, I believe that's where it happened. And yeah, he's got to learn how to slide. I get that, but you want to see that kind of fire out of the guy. I liked that. I do want to see him slide more, but I want to see him play the whole first half, Jay-Z. I want to see him play the whole first half against a number one defense. Let's see what we got in this guy. And if he plays well, that may, if they wanted to trade him or do something different with Hendon Hooker, that would up his value if he can do something against this top 10 defense that's going to be out there. What time and station does it come on? I'm not even sure about that. I know that I'm going to be looking at it today at 4:00. I'm sure the Fox 66, or I'm sure they'll be on the local networks. I mean, you are local, aren't you, Brent? Want a good look at Hooker. I mean, I think that's probably the number one thing right now. If you had to say, if you poll all of the Lions fans in the world right now, I would say that most of them would say that I want to see Hendon Hooker play today, especially against the ones. What a great opportunity that's going to be right there. Jay-Z, another good comment right here. Give Gates some kicks, or Bates. I said Gates. Jake Bates. You got to get – we know that he can boom a 60-yarder in. That's why he came here, right? He's got the boot. He's got the power, baby. Kicking it through, right out. You kick it out of the stadium. Jake Bates. Yeah, but can you kick a 25-yard field goal? Can you kick a 35-yarder? If it's 4th and 15 and you got a chance to kick a 40-yard field goal, can Jake Bates make it? Because I know that Dan Campbell is the aggressive guy, but usually the aggression comes inside of 4th and 5, unless it's a trick play. So if he's in a 4th and long situation, 4th and 15 after a holding call, and all of a sudden you're back at the 25-yard line, can Jake Bates make a 41-yard field goal? That's a great question. And yeah, I would love to see Dan Campbell go for a field goal on a 4th and 1 today, because I don't need to see my 4th down offense. We already know they can get 4th downs. We already know they can push the pocket and that you trust in them. Right now, we need to see the kicker. I like that call right there, Jay-Z. Blue and silver. I can see the Lions trading for an wide receiver at the trade deadline. And maybe they would do that. Maybe they could do that, but that doesn't really seem like that's in their MO. Does it, blue and silver? I mean, does Brad Holmes really do that? Maybe he trades for one like, a Donovan Peoples-Jones, maybe with a later round draft pick. I don't mind that. I don't mind them looking at that. But what we're really seeing with Brad Holmes, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, is that Brad Holmes believes in the development in the coaching staff and the guys that have been here. Like a wide receiver coming from outside of the walls of Allen Park, or like Locked On Lion says, 222 Rodwood Drive. Shout out to Matt Derry. Outside of those walls it's not as valuable to Brad Holmes as somebody that has been on the inside of the walls, that has been there as a receiver. Darius Fountain. I think that they put more value on a guy like that that's been already repping with the ones. He's already got something going with Jared Goff. Now, the outside of the walls, people don't know about that, right? And they just want to say, well, we don't have any depth behind there. But you don't know that. Just because Brad Holmes believes in the guys that are inside the walls more than anybody he could get on the outside. Trade deadline, I think that if they're going to make a move, that this next week when they do all the roster cuts, that's probably going to be the best chance that I would think that if they were going to add talent at the wide receiver position. Outside of that, I'm good with them going into the season with what they have right now, because what are we even really talking about here? When you say X receiver, you just need a guy that can go up and get the ball, right? The high point guys, the 50-50 guys. Well, we got a couple tight ends that can do that kind of specialize in that. Shane Zylstra, that's kind of what he does, right? Even though he's not considered an X wide receiver, he's a big tight end that can't block. So he's here because of his hands. So if he makes the roster, it's going to be because of his hands. But what are we even really talking about here? What, third, fourth wide receiver, right? Let's really look at the receiving options here in Detroit. Jared Goff's first option, Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? And whether you like it or not, or whether you believe in it or not, the second most targets on this team will probably go to Jameson Williams this year. There is no Josh Reynolds. He had his targets from last year. Those targets, I think the majority of those targets are going to go right to Jameson Williams, because he's stepping into that wide receiver 2 role that is left the void from Josh Reynolds. And maybe you could call Sam Laporta the number 2 option, right? Is Jameson Williams really the number 2 option, or is it Sam Laporta and Jameson Williams is the number 3 option? Okay. Now we got 3 options out of the way, right? The fourth option, Khalif Raymond. I mean, the guy is a stud, comes in for what the fourth option on the team should be getting, coming in on, he came in on specialty downs. He's not going to get a ton of targets, but Khalif Raymond does very well in that fourth wide receiver option, right? And then the fifth wide receiver option will probably be Jahmyr Gibbs coming out of the backfield, taking snaps for the fifth wide receiver option. So really the fourth wide receiver option that we're talking about, which is the fourth wide receiver, is probably going to be the sixth option. And this is what we're really battling for right here. This extra wide receiver could be Donovan Peoples-Jones, could be Darius Fountain, could be Tom Kennedy. Kennedy. Yeah. So it's an interesting question, isn't it? I think it is. Good. Thank you for the comment, Blue and Silver. Matt Henry, good morning, and I am looking forward to see Caleb take another step forward to build off of the last game. So you got your blue, you got your orange on there, so I'm assuming that you're the Bear fan right there. Let's go in there. We invite all of the fan bases in here. I'm interested to see Caleb too. Let's go. Hendon, Vaki, Fountain, Wingo are the ones that I want to see. Those are all great names right there. And I think that Vaki might be getting the starting reps today, which is going to be awesome to see him going up against the ones. Maybe Darius Fountain is going to be in there. That would be really cool. And I know that Wingo is going to get a long look today. So all of those guys are expected to see a lot of snaps today. Brent, thank you for that comment. Wow, we got a good conversation going in there. I love Hooker's attitude. It just sounds funny saying that out loud. My eyes will be on the defensive line, defensive end. Broderick Martin still playing too high. Let's see today. Broderick Martin had a really good game for the couple snaps that he came in there. Yeah, he's still got some technique stuff. They were talking about that where a lot of the guys, they're practicing all these techniques. They're doing these reps, and then all of a sudden they get into a live set and they forget everything that they learn. So there's a little bit of that going on. It's like processing, but also maintaining and keeping to the routine of it. So that's a good comment right there, Gary. Thank you for that. You love the Hooker attitude right there. Jay-Z, yes, I want to see what he's got. Need a competent QB2. Fox TV, thank you, Steve. That way I don't have to go out there and do that research. I was asking, where are you going to watch it? There it is. Brent says, I believe that Hendon is hungry. And right there, pre-game, 3:30. Fox Local 2. Broski said, Russ, I disagree. You may never want to see your quarterback trying to truck anyone no matter how you spin it. Just because Hooker wasn't concussed on that play, it doesn't mean it's a good idea. I didn't say it was a good idea, Broski. I'm just saying that as a fan, when you watch your quarterback destroy, like, I'm sorry, dude. You can disagree all you want, but there's not a fan in the world. If you watch Caleb Williams destroy somebody coming around the corner, you may go, I don't want to see you do that. I'd rather see you slide. But boy, he just took that dude's head off. Yeah. So you could disagree about that. I don't want to see him do it either. I want to see him slide. I do want to see him slide. But what I'm saying is I am a fan of physical play. I don't know about Brad making a trade, but I think that those guys they have for wide receiver fours, they want to see which one will be the most consistent. St. Brown, Jamo, Khalif are great 1 through 3 already. Yeah, that you got 3 solid guys there. You can say whatever you want about Khalif Raymond or whatever, but he's been solid with us. The coaching staff likes Raymond. And Jamo, whatever he's going to do is whatever he's going to do. I don't think that too many Lion fans are. There are some that, there's that pocket of Lion fans that are like, yeah, 1,800 yards. He's going to be the next Justin Jefferson. And it's like, yeah, okay. There's pockets of those fans and everybody. The 15-2 guys for Caleb Williams, the Minnesota Viking fans thinking, yeah, we can just overcome all these injuries and we're just going to be better than everybody. Okay, cool. Any of that is possible. But when you're talking about the fourth wide receiver position, it's not. I mean, that guy's not going to see a ton of time on here. I think that we're really splitting hairs if we're really thinking that it's going to be that big of a deal. Players to watch. Say hello to the bad guy right there, John Kapler, up in the house. Players to watch. For me, it's Broderick Martin. I'll be doing a video, bold takes on him in a bit. Hooker, and our wide receivers, the QB plays. Yeah, we want to see our guys in there. And yeah, make sure you check out Kapler's. He's got some bold takes on Broderick Martin. Broderick Martin came into training camp right. For a 3rd round pick last year, we wanted to see a lot more out of him, right? I mean, that's what it is. You want to see a lot more out of your 3rd round pick, but he was a developmental thing, and he's done all of the right things. They drafted him in the 3rd round because the way he's built. You got a mentality. He wasn't ready yet. They admitted that when they got him, but they had to bring him up. You know, they get these guys, Western Kentucky, I think he is from. So it's like these guys coming from the small school, the speed is unbelievable to go from college to pros, you know, and even like the really good colleges to the pros, even the Alabama guys, that learning curve and the speed is something to be dealt with. But when you're coming from like what Manu came from, you know, a college in Canada or Western Kentucky right here where Broderick played, these guys just didn't play the competition, you know. And you got to learn how to play football at the level. You got to learn that pad level that they were talking about. You know, you may have been able to just dominate people with your strength and your physical abilities, you know, with those smaller schools, but you ain't going to do that in the NFL. You have to have technique. You have to be consistent with your stuff and your learning, even with the physical attributes, because everybody's a freak in the NFL. You know, maybe he's a little more freakish, but you still have to put the technique in there. Jay-Z said Laporta, Wright, Zylstra are all good receivers, not to mention Monty and Gibbs. Yeah, I don't think that the fourth wide receiver battle for the Lions it's not like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We need to fill that gap. I mean, I could probably count the number of time that we had 4 wide receivers out on the field at the same time last year on one hand. You know, it's usually 2 wide receivers that were coming out. And then Raymond is kind of a guy could stick out there because he's a speed guy. So I feel you on that one. Don't see why they don't just sign Hunter Renfrow. He's a vet. He's a very smart player. I think I spoke to that a little bit earlier. They like their guys. Like, what is more valuable? Darius Fountain, who's spent the entire last 2 seasons in the practice squad, running the plays with Jared Goff, running with the people, or Hunter Renfrow, who's going to have to come in and learn the offense. So bringing people from the outside in it's a far stretch for a guy like Brad Holmes. We believe in draft and developing. I believe that they have these other guys that have been practice squatting their way up. I mean, there's a couple of guys that are probably going to make this roster that have just been in the system. One example I can think of off the top of my head is Brandon Joseph, the safety. So you lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Well, Brandon Joseph, you know, coming out of, you know, undrafted free agent last year, spent all year on the practice squad learning and made gains. And now he's going to make this roster as a depth piece, another young player that can come in and make an impact. So that's why they wouldn't sign Hunter Renfrow, is because they have these guys they've been developing behind, and they want one of those guys to step up. And if they don't, I could see them busting out a move like that, you know, like go get somebody, go make a trade for Robert Woods, you know, because you can, or maybe that there'll be a camp casualty. I could see them making a move like that, but nothing significant. Nothing significant. I like the Hunter Renfrow though. If they did that, that wouldn't make me mad right there. The bad guy says, who truly thinks that Martin is going to make major progress and step up this year? I do. I truly think that. And the thing is, there's more of a track record of him going to be able to step up with Brad Holmes draft picks than there isn't. It's like you have the burden of proof if you don't think that Broderick Martin is going to step up, because the Lions have already proven that they can draft and develop players. Because I know that the bad guy, I know that you were one of the guys that wanted to get rid of Derek Barnes after the first year because he didn't have a good year. He looked lost his first year. The speed of the NFL. They get these guys because of their mentality and their physical gifts. They figure they can coach up everything else. Ifeatu Melifonwu. Gosh, we were talking in here last year, and I was one of the people with you, John Kapler. We were saying, is Ifeatu Melifonwu going to make the roster? We were saying that last year, John Kapler. And look what happened. By the middle of the season, he comes into his own. He makes the progression jump. And then all of a sudden, the last 10 games, he's playing like a top 10 safety in the league. So you got Derek Barnes, Ifeatu Melifonwu, and then even Aleem McNeil after the first year. You know, he was it's like, okay, we got a guy that is just a dude. At least he didn't get cut from the team kind of defensive tackle. And then after the second year, he made some progress, but his first big jump, his real big jump was last year. Third-year players, second-year players make jumps. So I believe in draft and develop as it pertains to the Lions. I don't know if I believe in it for everybody else, but they have a track record now, and I think that you can get behind it. Blue and silver. They had tried to trade for Debo before. They made a call about Debo. Brad Holmes is so cool when it comes to the trade negotiations. It's like sometimes they're way off. Yeah, I'll offer you a 5, and then Montez Sweat goes for a 2. You know, they make calls on these guys. I mean, because you're not doing your job if you don't. You got to make the calls. But I don't know if there was any serious talks about Debo. But maybe before they drafted. Jay-Z said Brad has shown Broderick showed what he could do last week, splitting double teams to pressure the quarterback and take down running backs last week. Yeah, he had a good game last week, but to the point of David earlier, there is still some technique stuff that he can work on. You know, he made a lot of progress, but he's still not perfect yet. And I think that's what John Kapler will be alluding to as well. Broderick Martin's problem is he's too tall. He's 6'5". Okay, thanks, Steve, for Fox TV. Yeah, that's where the pad level has to come in. That's where his technique has to be sound, because these NFL offensive linemen will definitely be able to knock him off balance if he's not low. So he's got to get that low center of gravity. But he did the Aleem McNeil thing. He came into the and did all the physical stuff, right? He lost the weight, did the yoga, ate right, took the Aleem McNeil challenge. So physically, he's ready to go. Is he ready here? Is he ready in technique-wise? That remains to be seen. But one guy that has been getting some major love out there is one Levi Onwuzurike. And like the Detroit Lions, Pride of Detroit came out with an article that was talking about the 11 winners from the preseason so far. And one of them they was just talking about was Aiden Hutchinson. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting thing. But listen to what they say about Aiden Hutchinson. So the Hutch bunch. So Hutchinson last year played the second most snaps of any defensive lineman and had a ridiculously high 37.4 of Lions total QB pressures last season. And it's been widely said, and one of the biggest things from this offseason that people want to know, and I have this graphic up here that is for that, is who is going to be the pass rusher opposite of Aiden Hutchinson that's going to step up and make it so people won't be able to double team him anymore. And they've gotten some answers here. Levi Onwuzurike continues to be the shooting comet this training camp. He was back to creating pressures and affecting the run and from a whole bunch of different lineups, even standing up in the 2-point stance over the defense or over the offensive tackle at times. They've been lining him up all over the place. And every time that Dan Campbell talks about this guy, you can just see that grin in there. And Dan Campbell doesn't mince words with that. If you ain't playing well, he ain't going to give you an attaboy. He ain't here about your feelings. So when Dan Campbell says that Levi Onwuzurike looks like the guy that they drafted in the second round after Penei Sewell, I believe him. I believe that he has taken that step, and he's put on 20 pounds of muscle onto that back. The back problems seem to be completely gone. And that was the only reason that he hasn't made an impact. He has never gotten over this back thing. It's been an issue since day one. This is the first camp that it hasn't been an issue. So it took 3 years for him to get that back right. 2 back surgeries. I mean, who does that? I mean, gosh, first back surgery doesn't work. I'd just be like, gosh, man, I might not be able to play football anymore, right? I mean, that's what we were talking about last year, is this guy's career over. And here he is rushing to the front of the depth chart. Levi Onwuzurike, I want to see him tonight. Marcus Davenport, as much as everybody has made fun of Davenport because the guy has been injured. I mean, what is going on with this guy injured? The guys came into camp, and the guy has been a force since the day he's played completely healthy. So what they say here, given Onwuzurike's ascension, Marcus Davenport was rotating between the first and second team all week. However, he has continued to show that he will be a forceful asset. Davenport made the mismatch against the second team offensive line very apparent on Wednesday with 1 sack from a bull rush, 2 run stuffs from the outside and to the left right there. So Davenport can't be blocked by 2. So if you got to back up, dude, he's destroying them. So it's that's good for Hutchinson, is what that's saying. That's why Hutchinson. And then DJ Reader has been on the sideline. Kyle Pecco has been the undisputed starting nose tackle during Monday's past one-on-one drills. Pecco beat Frank Ragnow in back-to-back reps when it came in. So they got some guys. Josh Paschal had a couple tackles for loss. So these young guys that they have been developing, that's that word in the D that we can actually use. These guys can take another step forward. This is why they don't go outside of the organization to bring in Daniil Hunter, because they believe they've drafted the guy and that they can develop these guys into being those quality guys. And if all 3 of those guys progress at the same time, it's kind of crazy. Let's see. The Bears have a 6'6" defensive tackle, Gervin Dexter. He's one of those guys that you guys are looking for to take the step forward this year. You know, he's a guy that you drafted. I thought you guys got a real good value on Gervin Dexter. I liked Gervin Dexter coming out. He's a freak. This dude is a freak. He's fast, very fast. I think he ran a pretty fast 40. And at 6'6", you know, you draft and develop these guys. Can you develop him? Because he wasn't a huge force last year. He showed some flashes last year, but let's not overdo this. Gervin Dexter. Let's look at his PFF from last year. I'll bring up Gervin Dexter. I'm curious to see this. No. Gervin Dexter right there. I'll move on from that. I'm not going to look up stuff right now. Fred Peterson, good morning. It's a great day to be a Lion. How much does he weigh, broski? Yeah. Gervin Dexter, I'm not going to say anything bad about Gervin Dexter. That was a late round draft pick that might work out for them. He didn't grade out. I remember looking at that. Now I got to look at this damn thing. Darn you, broski. Let's see. So Gervin Dexter was a freak of nature last year, and I want to get him. Dex. Sexy Dexy. Sexy Dexy. Dexter. There we go. Gervin Dexter last year, yeah, he had an overall 50.9 grade. Didn't have a great year according to PFF. He had 13 tackles. He did have 4 sacks. So when he comes in there, he is good at rushing the passer. But what it comes down to, from what it looks like on him, is your team is trying to figure out ways that he doesn't become a liability on rundowns. Right there, he's got a good sack move, but that it's the same thing that that's going on with James Houston for the Lions. It's like this guy can rush the passer, and he's got a great move, but you can't get him out there on first and second downs because he's a liability against the run. So you want to be able to get these double threat guys. Same thing with Yannick last year. So it's like you got to be able to not be a one-trick pony. And right now that's kind of what James Houston is, if they can get it going. But right now, as a pass rushing specialist, I don't know if those type of guys can make this roster of the Lions. Like it seems like you almost need to be multiple to be able to get in there. So they called Pride of Detroit calls Hutchinson the winner of our training camp because of so many of these defensive linemen and pass rushers that were identified. Another winner from this training camp for the Lions is Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell was on the heater and the 9-on-7 draw on Wednesday. He was diagnosed with played flow to the ball, shot the gap, stuffed either the running back Montgomery or Craig Reynolds in their tracks right at the line of scrimmage on 3 first down runs. Jack Campbell's path to the roster has been interesting because Derek Barnes played so well last year that Jack Campbell had to find his way onto the roster, and it ended up going full circle. He got experience at playing defensive end. He played all of the linebacker positions in relief of Anzalone and Barnes all over the place, managed 90 some odd tackles in limited work, but he did end up winning the Mike linebacker job by the end of the season last year when Alex Anzalone came out with an injury. By the time Anzalone came back, he had to start at the other linebacker position, which is actually his natural position. So Jack Campbell was challenged in the offseason to take that next step. They drafted him at 18th overall to be the starting middle linebacker on this team for years to come. And it looks like he is making the progressions to do that. So Campbell's biggest highlight Wednesday came on a 3rd and long play when he tied fourth quarter scenario. He dropped back into coverage, robbed Goff of his pass attempt, and took it for a pick 6. And the first team period before that, Campbell had a well-timed blitz on the goal line. Faster processing and comfortability in space will be the key to his progression right there. And it's like you like to see those guys. See, Armeo says, will Pascal step up this year? And it's like, which one of those guys is going to step up? They might all be stepping up. Looks like Levi Onwuzurike stepping up, Pascal stepping up. And let's see what else we got in here. Jay-Z said it's going to be a rotation opposite of Hutch, Davenport, and will feature Pascal, Levi, and Houston depending on the formation. Yeah, just touching on that right there about the Houston thing. Houston's kind of relegated himself to a third third down type of guy. And they got another pass rusher. And let's see if they even talk about him here. And I can't remember what his name is. That was an undrafted free agent that keeps on sneaking up on these lists that have, I can't find him. Dang it. I hate not having my regular stuff and my regular stuff in here. But yeah, it might be one of these other guys. I think that Houston, that might be a hot take, but he might be on the out. He might be on the outs, because if you can only rush the passer, I mean, that's valuable. But if that's your only thing, we value the versatility. So one of these other guys might make it in there. And plus his legs are put together by like pulleys and stuff. Here's a great question to ask me when a Super Bowl team or a dominant team is always in the playoffs and had more than two good wide receiver. The offense wasn't focused on overall players. When the Super Bowl team, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if you got to have playmakers. Like wide receiver is such a funny, just when you just say wide receiver, there's other players that are on your team that can catch balls and be playmakers. And I think that we're putting too much emphasis on this number 3, number 4 wide receiver for the Detroit Lions when Sam Laporta is one of our top targets. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Jameson Williams, and then a running game. 2 running backs that, I mean, I think they're trying to find ways to get Montgomery and Gibbs out there at the same time. And I can definitely see that happening. So with that being said, you can't throw that many you can't have 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs on every play. And, I get the depth thing, but I think that there's really a 1 receiver, a 2 receiver, depth of 1 receiver, depth of 2 receiver. And that's what our starting look is, because we like 2 tight end sets, big formations, and putting an extra tight end in the backfield. We're not going with a true fullback this year. So I take it that Amon-Ra and the Sun God is the tribal chief of the Lions. I guess you could say that. The tribal chief, Penei Sewell, is the tribal chief. Penei Sewell's the best player on the Lions team. I mean, people can call it whatever they want. I think I love Goff as a quarterback because of Penei Sewell. Goff is not going to thrive in an offense that doesn't have a great offensive line. And Penei Sewell might be the best offensive lineman in the NFL, period. You might want to, you could give that, you could say Trent Williams maybe, but where Penei Sewell is, he's on a different level. That's what they said when he was drafted. I can't believe he even fell to 7. But Penei Sewell's the best player on our team. I would say that he's the tribal chief. And I would say that the Sun God acknowledges his tribal chief. Acknowledge me. There you go. But I thought, but they brought in Davenport. Okay, they did. Charles Lee, good morning from Louisiana. Heck yeah. Good morning from Louisiana. Gotta love Louisiana. Fred Peterson says the height of a defensive lineman has its disadvantages of knocking down passes as well. Way to get that one in there. That is a good point on that too. The taller guys just got to learn how to hit that pass, hit that. Now it's bugging Russ. Yeah. It does. Has its advantages. Forget Gervin's PFF. Go to the Madden rating. Yeah, Madden's so much more reliable. Gervin Dexter was a rookie last season. he will continue to improve. Chris Jones is also 6'6". So Gervin Dexter is now Chris Jones, and you're calling me a homer? Like, I mean, this is a Lions-based show, so I understand, Broski's pain, because my job is to come on here and tout these, 5th, 6th round draft picks that are developing in here on there. And it's funny that, you do the same thing, Broski. Yeah, we got these draft and develop guys. Only your team can't develop players. I mean, show me some players that you've developed. I mean, Ryan Poles is great at just bringing guys and having great talent on the team, but you're not developing any talent. I mean, yeah, I guess Jalen Johnson, I guess you could take credit for that one, but you got a hodgepodge team right here that you're just expecting that your coaching staff is just going to be like, yeah, everybody do what you're supposed to do. It's like there is advantages to having the same coaching staff and having the same systems in place year after year, but it is also, talent's also important too. So I'm not going to deny that Ryan Poles has put a crap load of talent onto your team right there. Broski, that's 100% of every second year player too. It's true. It's true. But the thing is like if you want to count on drafting and developing, you want to have a track record, right? You should have a track record. You don't have a track record. Brad Holmes has a track record of drafting and developing players. That's why I can say it. Jay-Z, to be a Brad and Dan Lyon, you got to be versatile, a team player, and you got I don't see Houston lasting past the rookie contract because he has shown problems of learning to be versatile. Yeah, he's got his the next shot is to make him an undersized defensive end. So he either has to learn how to play the pass or he has to learn how to play the run. And if he can't do either, then you're a pass rushing specialist. And there is a use for that. But I don't know if that's going to make this roster. I don't know if that's going to make this roster. There's definitely a roster that's going to take James Houston and use him only on third down and be good with it. Or, be like the women that are out there in the world and be like, I can fix him. This year, we've recruited new players across various positions of offensive line, defensive line, edge, linebacker, CB, quarterback, kicker, in order to remain competitive. It's essential to constantly bring in fresh talent outside the team. This constant influx of new players helps us to stay sharp and maintain the competitive edge. There's some truth to that. I mean, I can't disagree with all of that, but there's also something to be said about having your core group of guys that have been around a system, that are your seniors, that are your leaders. And you can't do that by constantly bringing in new talent from outside. The new talent that we want to bring in from the outside, CR, is draft picks. Draft picks is the influx of talent that you want. And as far as free agents go, you want guys that will come here for a discount and somebody that will take shorter deals. And that's just kind of been the Brad MO. You don't just come here and get a 4-year deal from the outside of the organization. So there is truth to your statement, but it's not the only thing. I mean, to maintain that competitive edge. And I agree with this statement as long as that competitive edge is coming from the draft. Let's see. Jack Campbell says that could take a big step this year. There's a lot of guys that are on that step up thing. That the crazy thing is how many high level guys that the Lions have already on this team that are very young, that are going to be here for a while. Sad but true. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, I'm your life. I am the one who takes you there. There. Yeah. Hey, I am your life. My good James Hetfield? Is that a good James Hetfield? Maybe not. Everyone, have a great weekend. The rain stopped. And it stopped here. Got to go work outside. The work never stops. It does not ever stop. Fred Peterson. Thank you, Fred Peterson, for being part of our crew. Jeffrey Addison. Gibbs will be in for more this year for sure. Chicago has a great GM, but a high school coaching staff. I detect no lies right there. That's the biggest problem. You bring in all the talent in the world. I could be one of the believers in Caleb Williams. But the thing is the Chicago Bears have a knack and a track record of ruining quarterbacks. And fan bases getting completely excited about said new dude, and new dude comes in and it's a dumpster fire. And I don't even think that you can blame the new dude. I mean, maybe Justin Fields. Justin Fields is like trying out at wide receiver, and I think they may even put him at long snapper just to see if they can keep him on the team. But yeah, that might not be good right there. But Mitch Trubisky, I think, is somebody that could have been better somewhere else. Jay-Z said, yes, Dan, the assembly of players and coaches has completely taught me the value of developing players. I can recognize the coaches around in the league that can't develop. And that's the biggest thing right there. Can you trust your team to draft and develop? We're going into the 11 a.m. hour right here, and I can get my music on right here as I'm getting to the end of the program. And this was a great show today. I want to go back through here and make sure that I can get everybody in here. Hey, Francis, are the starters playing today? I believe that Dan Campbell's going to put out a couple of the defensive starters. I don't think we're going to see any offensive linemen. Gibbs, Laporta, Goff won't. I don't think that Goff will play, but we'll see. They may go out there for one set, and I hope that they don't. I hope that Dan Campbell stays true to who he is and doesn't put those guys out there. I hope he puts out and gets what he wants. The opportunity for number twos to go up against the Kansas City ones is so unbelievably good to me. Like that, like to get that done, even if Patrick Mahomes mows them over and kills them, and just beats their ass. The dose of humble pie that those backups need. Because here's the thing: if you're going to make it as a third, fourth stringer, that doesn't mean that the talent level should drop off all that much. We need guys that can do their job. And I think that's true to any team. You want to find the guys that can do their job. And what a better way than to go up against the starters. Could you imagine if Hendon Hooker goes out there today and lights up the Kansas City's defense, even if it's just in preseason? Do you imagine the hype around that? Look at the Bears. Kid comes in and completes 5 passes, and they're crowning him already. Caleb Williams, he throws a handful of passes, goes 5 for 7 or whatever the stat line was. Played 20 snaps, and they're crowning him. Could you imagine if Hendon Hooker goes out there, throws 2 touchdown passes against the Kansas City ones? Could you imagine the hype on Hendon Hooker in the city of Detroit? Or the opposite of that. Hendon Hooker goes out there and gets picked his first 3 balls get picked off. Could you imagine they'd be clamoring for, hey, go get Ryan Tannehill? Oh my God! So there's a lot on the line tonight. So, Broski, you're defending. I'm not getting into it with you. It's a Lions show. I'm sorry, brother. I don't want to get into it. I know you want to pump up your team. I'm on record saying that you guys, in a good year, like if everything goes well for you, things could work out for you. And you listing a whole bunch of second-year players is guys that you've drafted and developed is the same. Like, I'm not going to call you a homer like you call me a homer by over touting my players. Like, all of my second-year guys, I'm in a hopeful thing. I'm not saying that they've drafted and developed any of those guys. Brent says, have a blessed day, Jay-Z. See, here, this is where, like, you're getting too emotional in here, broski. We're not supposed to be going on this. Yeah, I didn't. Are you assuming that I didn't watch Caleb Williams play to get the full picture? I mean, you can come on here. I get you. I get you. You believe in your team. I mean, you want to tell me Hooker is bad and Caleb is good? Hooker threw 9 passes. Caleb threw 7 passes. Your 7 passes look better than Hooker's 7 passes. But your quarterback is the starting quarterback for your team. My guy's trying to make it as a backup. My guy, Hooker, doesn't have any chance of becoming the starting quarterback this year unless Jared Goff gets injured. We're talking about your starter and my backup. Your starter should be better than my backup. And I do watch them play. I watched Caleb play. And one thing I do know about Caleb and that I know about Hooker is I have not seen either one of them play enough in the pros for me to make a decision like you say that Hooker makes poor decisions and Caleb makes good decisions. I know that I can't say that about Caleb. But I also know that I can't say the latter about Caleb. But I don't know enough. That's why I'm excited to watch this preseason game, because Hendon Hooker is going to get a shot to play against Kansas City starters. And you're going to get to see what this is really made of. Because does Hendon Hooker make poor decisions because he's playing with 2s and 3s? And that he's not going to get the same kind of protection? It's all good. It's all good. So I've had a good time today. This has been a good discussion. I always like the discussions with you, Broski, because you do bring in the bear flair. I like the bear flair that comes in here because I think it's important that if we are fans of the Detroit Lions, that we understand about our opponents. And like Broski says, like, we actually watch the games. We don't just look at the box scores and make assumptions about players. And we definitely don't want to. And I want to help you, Broski, too. Is you don't want to make assumptions on players so quickly, especially with preseason games. There's no game planning. There's no setting anything up. You're playing a checkerboard in preseason. You're not getting any, real game plans, schemes, any of that. You're just running one play versus one play, moving one space. Oh, this has been the Lions Villain Report. Let's talk about it. Got this preseason game going on today. at 4 p.m. You can continue the conversation. Just remember, like, subscribe. We're broadcasting live into the Lions Villain Squad. Go follow the page, please. Hit the like button. Like, if you're watching right now and you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. It's free. It's free. It helps out. And if you like football conversation, it helps keep us going. Don't forget about Main Event Mike on Monday nights. Monday nights at 7 p.m., the Main Event Football Show. Mike will share his bad opinions with you, and he also welcomes your bad opinions. We can all have bad opinions, and that's what we're really doing right here, right? We're all homers to our team. All of our opinions are going to be based around our team being better than yours. All of my guys are going to work out, and all your guys are going to stink. Yeah, that's how we be playing that troll game. Let's go. You like that? But what is it really about? It's faith, family, and football, guys. That's what it is on this program. Faith, family, and then football. We use football to spend time with our family. We don't let football use us. And I leave you with the blessing on this, because I wish the best for you. If you listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth right now, I care that you reach your goals. Like, I want to say that over your life right now. May you reach your goals. I'm putting my energy on that. I'm having a thought of thinking people that listen to this show are going to have the things that happen good in their life. That your family is blessed. That you get the things that you want out of life. I pray for that for you. And may the Lord bless you, and may the Lord keep you, and may the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again. Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 10 a.m. on Monday. Peace out.
Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity,